So I'm here with Sergey Baranov, the founder of Huachuma, where I've been staying for the past couple of months working with medicine with him. And I really wanted to sit down today and just have a chat about the role of Huachuma, particularly in the current times that we're in today.
Okay.
So, Huachuma is obviously an incredible awakening, healing experience for anyone to have. But in your last two books, you really expressed a greater urgency to bring people to the medicine. So I'm curious, what makes Huachuma so necessary right now rather than just a luxury in 2021?
Well, the world is falling apart, and it's an undeniable fact. But the medicine allows you to kind of stay out of it, you know. It shows you that you don't have to fall apart with it. And why today more important than before? Because if before it was a matter of some kind of, as you say, luxury, which I would say, if it was a matter of privilege before, today it's really a necessity to keep your mind sane. I mean, you know, we are all affected to various degrees by what's happening in the world, and people are losing their minds, and we see that happening. And apparently nothing helps that much to keep you sane these days. So what I found in Huachuma is it's many things, of course. We can make a long list of what Huachuma does, but particularly in this year, in this time we're living now, what can be more important than just having inner peace, living with inner peace and sanity?
Yeah. And just the collective fear that's so present in the world right now and the uncertainty, I'm curious, how does Huachuma actively counter and cure that fear that so many people are feeling?
I don't know the mechanism of it. I can just tell you how it feels. When you take the medicine, somehow, in some way, it just kills the fear in you. The way I see it is, when you embrace that infinite state of love that you find in the medicine, this love is overpowering. This love checkmates fear. There is just no place for it. It's like the sunrise comes and you start seeing, and there is no darkness. The darkness gone. So it's the same thing. You feel that sunrise inside of you, and it just brings light and love and clarity and strength, and it just removes all the negativities. It just evaporates like a fog, you know. You feel immune to it somehow, and it lasts. It's not only happening during the ceremony. During the ceremony you charge that, you absorb that, but it lasts after. So I think that's what's happening. It's really a choice you make between love and fear that comes from the experience.
Right. It's that embodied experience. Yes. It's not choosing fear from a place of mentally trying to, put yourself in a different state. It's once you actually feel that love and feel that empowerment, it changes you.
Yeah, right? It's not mental. Nothing mental works, actually. You can repeat 1,000 times a day, I'm not afraid, I'm not depressed, I'm not negative. But this is just, it has no power, It has no power. When you experience things, you don't need to repeat anything. The experience itself does it.
Right. It's the power of direct experience. Yes, it just is.
It just is, and you just are.
And that kind of weaves into the power to choose our mental and emotional states during this time. It just seems like in the world right now, there's this collective narrative that's really normalizing a state of being distraught and unstable and fearful. And I've talked to some people who even feel guilty about pursuing higher states right now. I'm hosting a retreat in April, and sometimes there's this discord because people feel like, well, I shouldn't give that to myself right now. I need to be suffering.
I need to be depressed.
Right. So what is the role that Huachuma plays in empowering your mindset to choose freedom and empowerment?
It's like there's like two aspects here. First is that what you mentioned, that people feel guilty about being happy. That's in itself a conversation. And it's not even about pursuing higher states of consciousness. It's just pursuing well-being. You're just pursuing peace. You're just pursuing joy that is becoming kind of awkward. You always we're walking after ceremony happy, and everybody is with big smiles, and people look at us and they're like, what's happening to these guys? Why they're so happy? It's like I feel that I feel like some kind of judgment too. It's like, why are they so happy? We're in the plane, in the plane pandemic, and everybody should be depressed. And these people seems to be like aliens walking on the streets. So I feel that judgment. So I completely understand what you're saying, referring to other people who I don't know. But this is all wrong. It's like, who said we shouldn't be happy? Who said we don't have the right to be joyful and peaceful? This is nonsense that I refuse to accept. And when you take the medicine, this becomes 1,000 times clearer. It's all about joy, peace, clarity, love, understandings, It's the antidote to this dark state of mind that people are in right now. And it's a perpetuate too. It's something that is constantly being enhanced by the media, which is the virus, along with the fear. So, I'm not sure, what was the question?
Just about how Huachuma can help you to choose joy and freedom without feeling guilt about it, it's just really empowering you in that higher state.
It's very important, because that's what actually happens in the ceremony. Huachuma experience really gives you that choice. It shows you that. Here you are. Here is two paths. You can be depressed and afraid and all that darkness, or you can be happy and joyful and free and peaceful and healthy. So it's really a choice that you make in that moment that shifts your perception somehow, So how it actually happens, I don't know. It just gives you that. Just gives you that. It's just something that you see. Here I can choose this, or I can choose this. You have the power to choose, and the medicine teaches you that. That you have the power to choose. And actually the choice is a momentary. It's the everyday choice. It's the every moment choice. It's something we do in life, Any situation, let alone what's happening now. It's true in the past, will be true in the future. But talking about now specifically about this crazy year, which probably will be more crazy and more years ahead. I mean, this thing is not going away. It's just going to shape-shift into something worse each time, until humanity wakes up to it, and start reclaiming its freedom and power back, But the choice is really crucial here, and you can choose. That's the whole thing. You can choose. You can choose. I cannot explain how it happens, but I can bring you to the state where this choice become possible for you to choose.
Exactly. And one thing that I'm really discovering about this medicine, Huachuma, is that it's clarity above all else. And so to me, the healing, it's healing, it's awakening, it's ecstasy, but all of that is stemming from the clarity. And I think, maybe if you want to speak to that, in the world we're in, there's no clarity. People are confused. There's confusion. And this medicine, like what you're speaking about with the the choice that it empowers you to make. It's because you rise above all of the confusion and you can see and know clearly, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, is there anything you want to add about the role of clarity and the importance of having clarity right now?
Clarity is healing, when you see, and when you know, you understand, and then things fall into place. So definitely clarity is what's missing in the world, period, with or without pandemic.
Totally.
Now it's just so much less of it.
Yeah.
Clarity is the medicine. Clarity is the medicine, really. Everything else is the supporting. It's like a toolbox, It supports the experience, but clarity is what this medicine is about. It just makes you see.
Yeah.
And when you see, things are clear, fear goes away, and everything become clear.
Right. And isn't that what most of us are looking for in our lives?
Yeah, in
is
general.
Clarity on our path,
Absolutely.
what we're here to do,
Absolutely,
who we're here
yeah.
to be. It's like...
That's what I'm saying. That our work didn't really change that much since last year. I mean, since the 2019, when the world was still relatively the same. Clarity is what people looking always. That's what I was looking. I never came to the medicine with any kind of sickness. I was healthy, physically and mentally. I came as a spiritual seeker to look for clarity, to look for answers to my questions, to how to live my life, what's life about, and who am I, and things like that.
Yeah.
So it's just what people generally are looking.
Yeah.
But especially now, like things have just the insanity is just so obvious right now that looking for anything else, it's kind of useless. If you look for anything at all, if you still have that life force in you that is looking to break through that walls of fear and depression, then that will be clarity. And that's what Huachuma medicine is all about.
Yeah. It's healing in and of itself. That brings you to the state of well-being.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm also curious, so many people are experiencing massive negative effects from isolation and lockdowns, and I'm curious how Huachuma can help with that. How can this medicine bring a greater sense of connection that a lot of us are seeking?
Well, if you're on a lockdown, you definitely... Well, you cannot get out to get this medicine, so
Get on
you're
a plane.
locked. You just simply cannot get on a plane, So that's why I was telling in the books that people should hurry up.
Yeah.
And it's clearly stays there because the world is going to change. I've seen that clearly and more than once. So it's happening now, what I was saying, what I was warning about, it's happening. So, but if you have that window of opportunity and you can get out and you can come to Peru and you can do medicine, it just, what isolation does, it's a very destructive thing. It, in itself, is a sickness, it's kind of, it freezes your spirit,
Yeah.
freezes your soul. So, the medicine can help you by melting this ice that you build around your heart. And so it's like a sun coming and just melting all the ice and all the snow. And also the connection we bring the medicine together. So it's like a community here, and there is human connection that we were taking for granted before. And now it becomes a medicine in itself, and that's something we understand now. Something that we didn't before. Something that we were maybe even neglecting, So it can do many things, but they can lock down a country, they can lock down the world, but they can lock down your mind. Your mind is still yours, and you still can retain freedom, the inner freedom from it. You might be restricted on the surface. That's not something you can do. You cannot override presidential orders, but your mind is your choice, and the medicine can help you to empower that. So controlling your mind will be not so easy for any outside force, because when you truly connected, you know who you are, you know your relationship with the universe, and you feel outside of it. As I said, immune. You just the whole world can be paralyzed, but you experience yourself. You're free inside. You're still a free thinker, and you're not giving into fear, and you're not giving into propaganda. You make your own judgments of situations, and you kind of sovereign. You remain sovereign.
Right. Which is such an important piece right now in the world. And it also seems like when we do this work for ourselves, it's also more than just for ourselves, When we start to wake up and reclaim that empowerment over our beliefs and our thoughts and our emotions, it almost feels like we give permission to others. We start to light up, and others start to see what's happening. That's what I've noticed for myself here. It's bringing a lot of interest to other people of what's happening for me, because I've shifted from the state I was in just 2 months ago.
And people are very receptive now, much more. If before, you had to maybe explain more what medicine is about, and kind of convince someone that this is what you need for your well-being and for your health and happiness, and something to satisfy your spiritual thirst. Today you don't need to convince anyone. It's just so obvious. They just see you being different.
Right.
You radiate a different kind of energy, and people understand that that's something they are lacking, and that's something they need in order to be themselves again. You see, that's what I'm saying. That's what kind of shifted. I wouldn't say that the work shifted from spiritual to less spiritual. Not at all. It's the same or even more in a different way. But the focus just kind of, it became more focused, the work now. It just become more on I'm trying to find another word other than sanity, but it's really hard because it's really that. The focus is to retain your sanity, to maintain it, and to enhance that, so you don't go down with the ship. So you still live your life in the midst of hurricane. You know what I mean? That's why I call my book The Cactus of Sanity, and I could call it many things. I could call it The Cactus of Unity, and The Cactus of Love, and The Cactus of Clarity, and The Cactus of Peace, and the many things. And it's all true. But I choose it because really sanity, it's all we want right now. The world has gone insane, and people have gone insane with it. Not everybody, but that's the tendency that we see, and it's increasing. And another year of the same dynamic, and sanity will be probably rarer than a diamond.
Right.
And more precious. So if anything people should be looking right now is that, because sanity is your well-being, it's your mental health. And what are you without your mental health? Just think about it. With all your money, with all your luxuries, whatever you have in material world, all this is meaningless. Like, if you don't have yourself to begin with, and even if you have yourself but you lost your mind in the process, then what does it do? What good all this riches serves?
Right.
I want my sanity, I want my health, physical and mental. That's my riches. That's something that is beyond any material goods, so that's what it is. I see that this is what's needed most now, is that well-being. And when you are well, then you can think about universe and infinity and immortality and everything else. Then you can just contemplate life. You can look for answers that you're seeking for, but there is a baseline, and this baseline has to be, it's a well-being.
Exactly.
It's a mental health, it's stability, it's connection.
Yeah.
It's something, you feel like, I feel like this mountain right now.
Yeah. Totally.
Psychologically, spiritually, and physically too. I feel just as stable as the mountains you feel around. And, everyone is affected. We are affected too, we're based, all our work is 100% retreat, so no people, we are suffering financially, of course, but that's the only aspect where we suffer. We are not affected emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. We have love and medicine.
Yeah.
And we're just moving through this in the best possible way.
That's true. That's what makes this necessary right now. It's getting to that baseline, and then, like you said, from there, all of the answers, the awakenings. I've been here 2 months. Like, I'm able to explore all these different aspects of my life, but getting to that baseline is the most important. You can't skip that step. You can't skip it, and
you can't just come to be completely mentally unstable and fearful and depressed and suddenly have insights of it just, they will not penetrate you. There is a wall around your mind that has to be demolished first, and that's the work. And then the insights are there, the understandings are there, so everything is there, the magic and the beauty of nature all around you, but you're not receptive to it because you're living in your bubble of fear. So that's what has to be broken.
Totally.
The bubble of fear has to be popped, and that's for your own good. And we do it in a gentle way, It's just with love. It's a work of love. So.
Completely. And I feel like this aspect of spending so much time in nature is a key part of the process,
Absolutely.
So many people that are the most negatively affected are in cities right now where their freedom is completely stripped away. So I know you said once that, we use nature as like a shield against the chaos. And how does that happen? How does the nature play a part?
In nature you feel differently. With or without medicine. With the medicine, of course, it's more enhanced. But even without the medicine, nature is the healer itself. If just something happened there, like leave your city, just walk away, just go into some park, and the feeling is different. And I don't mean these fake parks that you see somewhere in the middle of London, like parks like in the American sense, they call parks, but it's like wild nature, what I mean? You go there and you feel differently, like there is no madness there.
Yeah.
There is no insanity. Everything is sane, and everything is in order, everything is in peace, and you just absorb that and you resonate with that, and that's healing in itself. So absolutely, if you don't have access to any medicine, your nature is your medicine. Go out, spend more time, just be there, just walk around, sit, do what you want, meditate, whatever, but spend more time, because the cities are, in my books I speak about life in the cities, and even in the normal world, life in the cities, it's already out of balance. Why do you think people are so neurotics in the modern world? And I know that because I'm Western myself, and I'm a city guy, born in the city, I live in the cities all my life, until I actually found nature and understood that that's what it is. Cities just create neurosis. It's like, it's noisy, it's artificial light, you don't sleep when you should, you don't have peace. You're restless. You're in a hurry always. So that has direct negative effect on your nervous system, and it's just screwing up all your biorhythms and everything. So your neurosis just become like a mathematical equation. It's just it's something that you can't even avoid. But now it's much more, because there is so much fear, there's so much restrictions, and people city is becoming like a jail, like it's really, and now like with all these lockdowns, it really is. I mean, what's the difference? You're just locked in your house and you cannot get out, and so you go to nature and it's like a breath of fresh air that heals you. You go back and you are well. I feel very, very sorry a lot of compassion for people who are stuck in a city in a lockdown. I can imagine people like in New York or in big cities, like, this is serious. This will affect the mental state very negatively.
Right.
Now or later, it might be right away or post, like PTSD, COVID PTSD things. The level of mental illness will just skyrocket this year.
For sure.
So
it's so true. The environment, the medicine, this entire space that we're in is the healing, is the medicine.
Is the medicine.
So I know we need to wrap up pretty shortly, but I'm just curious if you had something to say to people who are feeling the call but maybe still feel that reservation around travel or around making this move right now, what would you say them in just a few words?
Well, if you are sick and you know that you need a cure, and I will tell you that the cure you need is on the top of that mountain, would you go there?
Absolutely.
I think that answers it. I was ready to walk to Pedro if I had to. And I never had any sickness to come in the first place. Mine was just a spiritual search, just to find connection with myself and find answers to big questions. But regardless of what is the motive, if you understand that this is the thing you need and want, you will find a way to get it.
Right. I love that. There's always a way, whatever you have to do. It's more difficult to travel in these times, but that's almost the way you put it once. It's the cost of the price of your commitment, the proof of your commitment to be here.
It's a proof of intent.
The proof of intent.
You can see that way.
Yeah. It's a great time to just check in with yourself and ask, are you ready to make a change? Are you ready to feel well? Are you ready to thrive right now? And that's what we're here for. That's the space that
You're
we're
ready to be sane.
You're ready to be sane. Absolutely. Well, this is the space where the magic is happening, and I'm so honored to be co-creating a retreat here with you in April. And for those who are listening to this on the podcast, I'll be putting the link to that in the notes for the show. And people are welcome, obviously, to come here anytime. And then in April, we'll be creating that 10-day space for a deep dive together in a container. So
sounds good.
For those who are ready, I'm so excited to be here with you and share this experience. And it's, those who feel the call in 2021, there is life-changing stuff happening down here.
All right.
Thanks, Sergey. Great conversation.
Thanks.